Scholars say that you need to possess three qualities to be a person who loves others for the sake of Allah. One, that you are a person whom others can rely on in times of need. Two, that you are patient with others. And three, that you have a pure, clean heart. Let's consider each one. Number one, are you a person who can be relied on? As human beings, we are not complete entities. We need each other. So Allah has surrounded us with people who need us and people we need. It's not survival for the fittest. We expect that others support us as they expect us to support them. Whoever said life is give and take was absolutely right. That's why we are very hurt when we are let down by others. Real love involves giving, not just taking. If you say you love a person and you never give anything but lip service, then you don't really love that person. Ali bin Abi Talib said, "Your best friend is the one who is with you at all times, even when you are apart. He might harm himself to benefit you. He partakes in your worries and is ready to be scattered so that you can be whole." So let's say, for instance, that you have a friend who's shy and withdrawn, and it is preventing him or her from communicating and sharing his thoughts with others. What is more is that his grades are suffering in his public speaking class. Once you realize this, you turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and promise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you will help your friend overcome this negative shyness that is preventing him from contributing with his knowledge. So you help your friend for the sake of Allah. This is love for the sake of Allah. I used to be such a shy person among sisters that oftentimes I would not do the right thing out of shyness, like saying Assalamu alaikum when I would come to the masjid and see other sisters gathered together. I would pray my Tahiyyat al-Masjid and sit down and wait for others to initiate greetings or conversations with me. Even then, I would hold back. One day, I saw a sister who frequented the masjid and was amazed by her. She would come in, pray Tahiyyat al-Masjid, and then start her Assalamu alaikum rounds to every sister in the masjid, including the kids, including those babies who couldn't speak but who would respond with a smile. She inspired me without knowing it. I felt fortunate to be around her. I wanted to be like her. I told myself, why are you letting this shyness come between you and your sisters in Islam? Open up to them. And I did. And I found out that when I did, Allah opened up their hearts to me. But I had to take that first step. For Allah had planned for me to meet so many beautiful souls that He chose for me in the realm of the souls. But it would only happen when I was ready to break those walls that I had set up between myself and them. I'm reminded of the story of a man who rushed home one day to fetch some money for a friend who'd asked him for a loan. After he gave it to his friend, he walked back home with tears in his eyes. His wife asked him, "Why are you crying? Did you need the money?" He said, "No. I'm crying at my brother in faith's state of affairs." How could I have not known what he was going through? If I had, I would have offered my help before he was compelled to ask for it. This brother was lamenting the fact that he saw his brother sighing, but he never asked him what's up. He saw him distracted and staring in the distance, yet never bothered to inquire about his situation. How many times have we done the same in the name of I don't want to invade other people's privacy? He was crying because he was not there to prevent his brother in Islam from going through all those struggles that culminated in him holding out his hand to others and asking for a loan. Number 2, are you patient with others, regardless of whether they are with you? That's a second quality that you need to have if you are a person who loves for the sake of Allah. Oftentimes, we look for comfort in our relationships with others. We want to make our contact with each other as painless as possible, or we get all flustered and enraged. We have to be patient. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is patient with us. And our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was so patient with everyone he came into contact with. I'm reminded of a sister once who had a friend whom she loved so much. She showed this sister so much affection. She would text message her poetry that was inspired by their friendship. Whenever she would see her, she would run to greet her. But her friend, on the other hand, did not show the same affection towards her. This nagged at the sister. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to show her that this was indeed a true friend who loved her for the sake of Allah, even though it didn't show. One day, it so happened that this sister fell ill and was hospitalized. Her friend, whom she thought didn't love her as much as she did, took a whole week off from work to stay with her in the hospital. What a friend. Truly, a friend in need is a friend indeed. So make sure you are patient with your friends and do not rush to judgment about them. Focus on their 100 good qualities and overlook the one or two bad ones. The third characteristic is purity of the heart. You should not be selfish in your friendship. Don't be too slow to accept apologies. Don't compose negative scenarios from a word or gesture. Don't build twin towers of doubt out of a word you heard from a friend. Allah wants you to be like Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib, who said, "Do not doubt in a word that came from your brother, especially when you can possibly find a good explanation or interpretation for it." Al-Shafi'i said, "He is not your friend whom you have to beg for forgiveness." You should be such a friend who makes dua for your friend in their absence, and in turn your friend in faith will make dua for you. Be a friend whom others hold special in your heart, so special that in your absence they are compelled to make dua for you. For remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a special angel waiting to say Ameen to whoever makes dua for their sister or brother in Islam in their absence. And remember that Allah does not love a person who deserts his sister or brother in faith. And Allah forgives every Muslim except for those who are deserting each other. And if they should meet, the best of them is the one who initiates the salam. Why is that person the best? Because they were the first to reopen the lines of communication with a single word, salam, the greeting. That person has overcome himself or herself and her or his pride to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Look at this beautiful hadith. The best mu'mins, the best believers are those who are best in their akhlaq, those whose shoulders are trodden over. What does this mean? It's an expression in Arabic that means that they are humble. The Prophet ﷺ said that they are those who are friendly and respond to friendliness, meaning they achieve ulfa. Allah loves pure hearts because it is what makes a person exceptional. Such a heart Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gladly receives on the day of judgment. إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. So let's not have hearts with low capacity seating, but let's have ones that have unlimited capacity seating for our fellow Muslims. I want you all today to send out beautiful messages, texts, emails, voicemails, etc. to those whom you love for the sake of Allah. Make sure you search for those long lost friends. Let's work towards achieving that shade on the day when there will be no shade but that of Allah. And let's aspire to be raised on pulpits of light in the hereafter by humbling ourselves to others in this life. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم وصلى اللهم على سيدنا محمد والحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.